Let's get the latest from our Washington correspondent, Simon Mark. Simon, good evening to you. Thanks very much for joining us. So Biden is projecting calm. He's trying to go about the business of preparing to take over as president. Has he started filling his cabinet, naming the people that are going to surround him?
Yes, he has, and he announced the appointment of his White House Chief of Staff yesterday, Sally, Ron Klain, a man who will be no stranger throughout southern Africa. He was the Ebola czar in the administration of President Barack Obama. He has had a long relationship with Joe Biden as Joe Biden's Chief of Staff, even outside the White House, now moving into the White House at the end of January as Joe Biden's Chief of Staff for the presidency. An expected announcement, that one, and I think a signal to the country and particularly to the corridors of power here in Washington that once Joe Biden is sworn in on the 20th of January, we are going to be looking at a much more stable, more predictable government than we've witnessed over the last 4 years under President Donald Trump.
And I'm hearing that Bernie Sanders is to be appointed as well.
Well, there is a theory that Bernie Sanders may be offered the post of Secretary of Labour, but we've not had that confirmed. And I think there are questions about whether Bernie Sanders will, in fact, enter the cabinet. The same concerning Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Both of them, of course, titans of the progressive left here in the United States. But there's a political issue for President-elect Biden in that the outcome of the Senate remains unclear. And Democrats, even in the best-case scenario, are going to need every single vote they can get. And whether they would want to run the risk of bringing Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren out of the Senate and putting them into Joe Biden's government and then rolling the dice on elections further down the road for those two seats, I think that might provide Joe Biden with an off-ramp for bringing Sanders and Warren into his cabinet.
Meanwhile, what of Donald Trump? Has he conceded yet?
No, absolutely not. And there's still no indication that he's going to. He insisted on Twitter again this morning, "We will win." He put out a motivational video to his supporters, urging them essentially to stay on board the Trump train. But look, he's having absolutely no luck in any courtroom in any of the battleground states. Indeed, in many courts, his lawyers are being ridiculed by judges because they walk into the courtroom with not a shred of evidence to support the president's claim that there has been widespread voter fraud in the United States. And I think we're getting the sense here this morning particularly that some Republicans are now getting tired of this and believe that it's time for President Trump to allow the offices of government to start cooperating with President-elect Biden. Give him access, for example, to the daily presidential intelligence briefing that both President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris need to see in the interests of national security. Release the money so that the President-elect can open a transition office here in Washington, D.C. Definitely, fissures are beginning to spread among some Republicans who look at the situation here and recognize there's no evidence to support the claims that the president is making.
Simon, tell us a little bit more about this transition period. End of January, Joe Biden will take over, but it's 70-odd days. Could Donald Trump do some serious damage? I mean, I'm thinking, could he share state secrets, for example?
Yeah, look, I mean, Donald Trump remains president of the United States for just about another 70 days. And very curiously, earlier this week, he defenestrated the entire top tier of civilian leadership at the Pentagon. He put his own man in to replace Mark Esper, the Secretary of Defense, and a whole bunch of political operatives loyal to Donald Trump in the senior echelons of the Department of Defense. Now, why would you be doing that when the only thing you really need to be doing right now is bringing the suitcases down, checking under the White House sofa cushions for any loose change, and getting ready to leave the building? So, absolutely, Donald Trump can still do lots between now and January the 20th, and he doesn't have to ask Joe Biden's permission to do any of it. So, in fact, there are Republicans who are saying, look, we've got 70 days left to start tying Joe Biden up in knots. Forget all of this conversation about election fraud that didn't exist. Let's zero in on the rules changes, the regulatory changes that we can implement even without congressional backing, and leave Joe Biden with these huge knots that he would have to try and untie the second that he took over.
Simon, very quickly, when is the final vote going to be counted?
Well, the votes have to be certified on December the 14th here. Recount coming in Georgia by hand in all 159 counties. The authorities there confident they can get it done in time for December 14th, which is the official day on which the Electoral College certifies all of these results ahead of a congressional vote to approve the results on January the 6th. So time is running out for Donald Trump to overturn the results of this election, and he doesn't appear to have any grounds to do so.
Thank you very much, Simon Marks in Washington.